Hello all. The purpose of this video is to show you how to make these graduation photo boxes. Now, I say graduation photo box because that is that is the event that I created them for. However, you can use this for weddings, baby showers, whatever the celebration or the special event in your life. So here on the left is kind of the first one that I created. Now I have some different flowers than the image on the right because this is kind of what I use to figure out what would look best inside of the photo box. And then on the right is the image of what I actually presented to my guests and had on my tables at my event. So in order to make this photo box, I'm going to share with you a template here. Okay. Um, and this template is essentially a document that is 30 inches by 20 inches. You may ask, why those dimensions? Well, for my photo box, I wanted to make sure that it was pretty wide. So as you can see here, I mean, it's a pretty nice size box. It was important to me that it wasn't too slender. I wanted it to be somewhat thicker, and I also wanted it to be tall. So these dimensions allowed me to get both of those wishes out of that. So I ended up again with the 20 by 30 page here. And what I did was I wanted each of these four parts of the box to be 6 inches in length. So if you use this and you print it out, you'll notice that they're about 6 inches here, right? Now I can turn on the guides, and it'll also kind of land for the most part at those intervals, 6 inch intervals. So it'll land at 6, 12, and 18, and then 24. If you want to change the dimensions, feel free. If you want to make them smaller or larger, it is completely your choice. This template is completely editable for you to do so. So a couple other things to point out about this template. I have the background as navy, okay, because my colors for my event were like a maroon and a navy. You can change the color to any color that you like, completely up to you, completely customizable. And then the reason that I have that maroon color in the background there is because I wanted it to show through the frames, okay? So again, it is your choice. You can change anything that you'd like, completely up to you. Um, what I would like to do next is just kind of show you how I use this to add my pictures. So if you don't already have your pictures added to Canva, then you need to do that first by uploading them all. And then the next thing that you will need to do is to start adding them. Now, for this example, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have some random photos of kids that I add to this. So it's important to try to pick images that can be viewed easily in the different size frames. Okay, so I'm just going to fill up a couple. The other thing I want to point out is that if I again am looking at this in four sections, so this being the first section up until the 6 inch mark, then the second section going to the 12 inch mark, and then the 18 for the third, and then the 24 for the fourth. I am setting this up so that my first and third sections are identical, and that my second and my fourth sections are identical. And I did that because it's very likely when a guest is sitting at the table, they're only going to see two sides. And I wanted them to see two different images or sets of images when they sat down. So the same thing, no matter where a person sits around this centerpiece, they're going to see two sides and two sides only. So that is why I chose to make, again, the first and third sections identical, and then the second and the fourth sections identical. So again, we're just plugging in pictures at this point. Um, Anywhere, okay? I can keep going, keep going. I'm just gonna do really this first frame here. Let me see. And I'm going to make sure that I'm zooming in so that you can see how these pictures are fitting in these frames. Okay. use your best judgment with these. I will say, so I'm going to put this little guy here just to show a point. He has a transparent background. Now, it's likely that your photos won't have a transparent background, but there's a really quick way to fix that. If I go back to elements and I just bring in a square, what I want to do is I'm going to make this a white square. I'm going to shrink it down some. And then I'm really just going to drag it behind that photo, if I can grip it. Okay. So you can get really close so that you can make sure everything is lined up how you want it. Once I'm happy with it, I think right there is good. Then I'm going to kind of zoom out. I'm going to go to position, and I want to move that white square backwards one. Once I do that, boom, my picture now has a background. It's no longer transparent. If I want to continue to add the photos of the kids, I can do so. But what I'm going to show you also is, let me see if I can grab a few more pictures. What I'm also going to show you, let's see. I think for this example, I can use the same photos because I think you get the gist. I'm gonna just do one panel for this demonstration. So also know that you can always adjust your images as well. But I don't want the table number in the center to be a frame. I actually want that to be like the name, like celebrating such and such. So then what I'm going to do, and I hope all of this makes sense, is I'm going to go to a blank page and I'm just going to write out. So celebrating your special achievement. I probably could have chosen a smaller text style. But what I want to do at this point, I'm going to make it smaller. And then I might also change the, here we go. I'm going to change the font. At this point, what you really want to do is adjust everything how you want it. Essentially, I'm creating this part here where it says celebrating and then the name of my son. Okay. So celebrating your special achievement. And then I can also put, actually, I don't need to put the table number because it's already on the template. But what I am going to do is I'm going to take a screenshot of this. Okay. Leaving a little bit of room for the table number. And I'm going to upload. Sometimes that does not cooperate. Let's see, try one more time. There we go. I'm going to come back to my template here, and then I'm just going to drag it on over to the frame. Okay. So now I have my wording. I have still the table numbers, which I can still edit that text because those are just text boxes overlaid. And I could really replicate this whole thing multiple times to fill up the whole template. I do recommend when you go to the next centerpiece that you really just copy the whole thing, right? And then just paste it instead of trying to, click and drag all of the pictures over again. So I would, delete this one and I would copy this one, come down, and then I would paste it. And when you're pasting it, just make sure that you have the margins that you want when you cut. Okay. You can change the table numbers and you can just print this as many times as you want. What I did was after I pasted it, I duplicated it and I went back and changed the table number so that it could be 1 through 13 or again, however many tables you have. So that is pretty much how you would go about making the photo boxes. And then the other thing that I did was I went to Walgreens to print mine. And just so I can show you real quick. So I went to Walgreens, I clicked on photo, I went to posters, and then I chose the 20 by 30 because that's the size of my template. Now, just know every time you go to Walgreens, there is a discount that you can take advantage of. Sometimes it's 40%, sometimes it's 50%, but you want to make sure that it's on the same day print option. And then after you upload your photo to Walgreens, and I chose Walgreens just so to save on ink and to also have that glossy finish as if it were a photo. So I would choose a 20 by 30. Notice it says $25.99. It's going to be 40% off if you use that code or whatever code is available to you when you do this. I left it at satin paper by default because I did like that glossy finish. I didn't think it was necessary to do the adhesive, number one, because it ups the price. And number two, I used Gorilla Spray glue to adhere my poster to these foam core boards that I purchased from Michaels. Okay. So I purchased this again, it's the same size, 20 by 30. So I'm constantly using the same dimensions from my template to my print at Walgreens to the board that I adhere it to. And let's see, total, I may have spent, let's see, I think I spent roughly, let's see, that's about $13 plus $6 is $18. So I spent about $9, given that there's two on each of these. I spent about $9 per centerpiece. If you want something more budget friendly, you can print this at home. And that'll definitely cut down the price. I hope this video was informative. I hope you enjoyed this template. And please, please, please leave me any types of questions or comments if you have any follow-up. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.